Welcome to Salem Health's volunteer information session. This is the first step in becoming a volunteer at Salem Health, West Valley, or for any Salem Health clinic. Okay, we're going to go through what to expect from this information session, and the first one would be what our expectations are for Salem Health volunteers as well as our West Valley campus and clinics. And then you get to find out if Salem Health is a good fit for you and if this is how you want to spend your time. You're also going to find out all of the volunteer opportunities that are available for volunteering. And then attending the session doesn't guarantee a volunteer position. We do score our applications and the interviews. And we want to make sure we're finding the best fit for our program, so that's why we do the scoring. And just like an interview, we want to make sure you're a good fit for the roles. After completing this information session, you're going to complete an online application. And in that application is going to be some questions from this information session. So be on the hunt for these little green stars. They are the hints for your quiz questions. So as we go through, please be sure to pay attention so that you have all the answers you need to complete that little quiz in your application. Okay, to dive right in, we're going to start by setting the foundation for Salem Health and what we are all about. So we're going to talk about our mission and vision statement quickly. This is a very important part of our organization. So our mission statement is to improve the health and well-being of the people in the communities we serve. And the way we do that is through our vision statement, which is to provide an exceptional experience every time. So how we do this is by providing to anybody who walks through our doors or when we're rounding on patients or even talking to staff, we want to provide that exceptional experience. So maybe a smile goes a long way, and helping people find their way when they're lost or giving them directions. We're a big campus here at Salem, and it's important to make sure we're helping people find their way. It can also be just providing a cup of warm coffee as like a comfort, or even when you're rounding on patients, getting them a warm blanket. Providing that exceptional experience to anybody who comes through our doors is what we are all about here at Salem Health. All right, let's get to know Salem Health a little bit, our Salem campus. So to start, how many patient beds do we have here at Salem Health? We have 454, and we are actually adding an additional 250 beds with a new tower that we are building. So we are preparing for our aging population and preparing for growth in our community by going ahead and building another tower, so we have enough beds for our community. And then how many staff work at Salem Health? We have 5,200 staff, so that includes all of our environmental services, our nutrition staff, our doctors, our nurses, our CNAs, all of our administrative, and that also includes Salem Health campus, West Valley campus, and all of our clinics and urgent care. So we have a lot of staff that make this hospital run. And then how many volunteers do we have? We have around 400. It fluctuates each year. Right now we have about 400. So there's a huge potential to make new friends, and there's still plenty of roles available at our hospital to help out and do some volunteer work. And then how many buildings do we have? We have 6, and this does not include our clinics and our urgent care and our West Valley campus, but we will dig into what that looks like on a map. We're just going to go through our campus a little bit to kind of give you an idea of what it's like here at Salem Health. And maybe you have been here, but you haven't since the construction has happened. So we have a big construction zone happening right here in the middle of our campus. So it is a little bit different, and just something to be aware of while you're coming in during this time. And if you're listening to this after July 2022, I bet it looks beautiful, and we are so excited to see what those finishing touches look like. So let's go through the campus as it is right now. So building A is our critical tower. So it has our emergency department, the ICU, our neurotrauma unit, our cardiovascular unit. So that's where all the big traumas come in, and that's where they are all taken care of. Building B is our oldest building on campus, and so this is our original building on campus, and it has patient floors on it, as well as our heart and vascular unit, and a lot of administrative staff. Building C is our Salem Cancer Institute. There's also some contract clinics in that tower as well. And then in Building D is our Family Birthing Center. So that's where all the babies are born. And then we also have our Creekside Dining, as well as our Community Health Education Center. Building E is our psychiatric ward, and Building M is our rehab center. And then we also have our urgent care on campus as well. It's just across the river. And then you will also see North Bank Plaza over here. That is currently under construction as well. And that's going to be a surgery center. So yeah, that's a little bit about our campus. And we are, as I mentioned, we're building a new tower. So this is currently what it looks like as of June 2020. And it should be ready for patients as of July 2022. So it's going to mimic what our current Building A is. So it's going to be critical care capable. So it'll hold any critical care patients that come through our hospital. So we're essentially doubling our access availability for critical care, which is amazing. All right, if you're here because you're wanting to serve out at West Valley, this slide is for you. We want to make sure that you are included and you get to know West Valley Hospital as well. So where is West Valley Hospital? It is located in Dallas, and it's on Washington Street. Sometimes it's referred by people in the community as Dallas Hospital or West Valley Community Hospital. But since it became a part of Salem Health, its official name is Salem Health West Valley. How is West Valley different than Salem Health? West Valley is small. It's a community hospital primarily. It does outpatient procedures, but it also has a 24/7 emergency department, and it's the only one in Polk County. It's also a critical access hospital. And then, are the expectations and requirements the same for all Salem Health locations? Yes. All Salem Health hospitals and clinics are centralized with one volunteer department. We have 4 staff, 3 out at Salem and 1 at West Valley. So we do have all the same expectations. We are under the same umbrella. If you have more questions in your interview with our volunteer services assistant, you will have that opportunity to ask more questions in your interview. Now, is Salem Health a good fit for you? We're going to find out if you're eligible to be a volunteer with us. These are all of our requirements. Must be older than 14, must be able to commit to a weekly shift for at least 8 months, must be able to communicate in conversational English, must be able to move independently around the work area, including some bending and reaching, must be able to speak in a clear and audible voice, must have excellent customer service, must be able to work independently, must be able to lift and carry up to 10 pounds and push up to 40 pounds, and establishing and maintaining positive working relationships with others. If all of these you are capable of, then you are eligible to volunteer with us, and we would move forward with the next steps, depending on the scoring of your interview and your application. So what brought you to Salem Health to volunteer? It could be any of these reasons, one of them being to give back. That is definitely a yes. We love to see our community coming and volunteering at our community hospital and giving back to their community. Another one might be to gain experience for your future career. That is a yes. We love to see our future nurses and doctors coming and gaining experience and volunteering for their community. This also looks really great on your resume for when you apply to school. Another option, reason you might be here is to career explore. This one is a no. If you're here to job shadow and you want to job shadow a nurse or a provider or health care professional, we actually would encourage you to not move forward with volunteering and go and complete the career exploration application, and you can apply for that and then move forward with job shadowing a healthcare professional. Another one might be to potentially get a job at the hospital. This is a yes and a no. We love to see our volunteers become employees of our organization, but we ask that you complete your 8-month commitment with us. We'll go through that in a little while. And then after that point, you would be eligible to apply and get a job at the hospital. If you complete the 8 months with us, then we would be eligible to write you a recommendation letter to help you get a job, but we can never guarantee a job after volunteering with us. We just don't have that kind of power. So we will wish you the best luck, and we, as long as you're a volunteer in good standing, then we'll write you a recommendation letter, and after you've served your 8 months. Another one might be if you're required to get a certain number of volunteer hours for community service. This is a no. We cannot sign off on any community service hours. We would encourage you to find those elsewhere. And this one's really cheesy, but you just heard how many volunteers and staff we have, so there's a huge potential to meet new people and make new friends. So if you're new to the area, this is a great reason to come and volunteer with us. Qualities we look for in Salem Health Volunteers include being naturally friendly, customer focused. Remember, our vision is to provide an exceptional experience every time, so this is a huge one. We want to make sure all of our volunteers that come through our doors are going to be friendly and customer focused. Being committed to serving, we're going to go over that commitment soon. And then willingness to learn new things. I just told you about the new tower that's being built. You've also all been through the pandemic. So being flexible and willing to learn new things is a really huge piece of volunteering with us. Their life is changing all the time. Hospital expectations are changing all the time. So being willing to move and ebb and flow with those changes is really important when you come in as a volunteer. If you're not good with either of those things, this is not a good place for you. So you have to be willing to be flexible and the ability to learn new things. Comfortable with computers. If you got to this information session, we are assuming you're good with computers. There is also an online application, and there's also quite a bit of computer work that goes along with coming on as a volunteer. So being comfortable with computers is something that is necessary when you're coming on as a volunteer. Being able to demonstrate empathy, putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and understanding where they're coming from, feeling what they feel. That is a really huge part of volunteering with a hospital. People are sick and people don't feel good when they're here. And when you come in and you visit their room and you're visiting with that patient, putting yourself in their position and trying to understand how they feel is really important, and demonstrating empathy, it reflects to that patient and shows that incredible, exceptional experience. So that's a really big piece of volunteering with us. Being willing to communicate openly and honestly is another big one. We want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So if you decide to leave, or you find that this isn't a good fit for you, or maybe that position isn't the right fit for you and you want to go to a different position, we want to know about it. Just be open with us. Things go much smoother when we're all communicating openly. And then we work at a hospital, so confidentiality is a really big deal. We have to follow HIPAA regulations. So everything you hear here on campus stays here, so it doesn't go anywhere else. And then I love this part about Salem Health. We will always assume positive intent. So say the nurse says, sort of like yells at you and says, don't go in that room. And you're like, what did I do? I didn't do anything. She may be protecting you or protecting the patient. That's something that, and that's us assuming positive intent. We have to make sure we're always going to assume that as we're moving into these positions. That just helps create this awesome culture we have at Salem Health, that people are looking out for everybody's best interest. So those are the qualities we look for in Salem Health Volunteers. And then these are qualities that we deem as unacceptable for Salem Health Volunteers. So we feel very strongly about diversity and inclusion, and we accept everybody who comes onto our campus. We do not have any bias, and we do not have the right to pass judgment on this campus. This is a hospital. Anybody is welcome. Anybody who is needing care is welcome, and so no matter who they are, we will always accept them because that's what we do. We also do not accept sarcasm, walking off in the middle of conversations, not listening, snarky and snide comments, sour faces. That one's kind of funny, but it happens. So we want happy customer service oriented people. So if you have a sour face, that's not providing good customer service. Gossiping. We hold confidentiality very high, so gossiping is unacceptable. And then a lack of caring. We're assuming if you're coming here to the hospital to volunteer, you don't hold this quality, because it's important to care about everybody who walks through those doors because they're sick or they have a loved one that's sick, and we want to make sure we're providing that exceptional experience. So we're going to watch a little video, Heart of Healing. This talks about empathy. That video always gets me. I hope that kind of demonstrated what it's like in a hospital and what others are going through when they're here. this graph sort of demonstrates sort of like a progression of how to help you feel for others. So like we want to stay away from the pity and sympathy side and grow into the empathy and compassion side of things. So our goal is to be on the empathy and compassion side of this graph. So nobody likes to be pitied. Sympathy is one step closer. You care about it, but you don't really understand it. Being empathetic, you are getting to the point where you feel that suffering, you understand it, you can be in their shoes. And then compassion is wanting to relieve that suffering. So yeah, that's what it's like at a hospital. So keeping that in mind as we move forward. All right, let's dive into the volunteer commitment. We have talked about this a little bit, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more in depth. So our commitment is for 8 months, 1 day a week for a 4-hour shift. You'll be placed in one area of the hospital, and we're going to determine that one area in your interview. So we're going to find what works for you and what works for us and find that one special spot for you. And then that placement will be consistent each week. So say your shift is on Tuesdays 1 to 4. Every week you'll come Tuesdays 1 to 4. We also want you to enjoy your position. So if you find that it's not what you expected and it's not what you were hoping for, come talk to us. Keep that open communication in mind. We want to make sure you're enjoying the position you're in. And then there are a lot of people in this hospital, so we ask that you get to know the people that are in your area. It brings a lot more joy to the job when you get to know the people and they get to know you. That includes staff and getting to know the visitors and patients. That makes the position that much more fun. And then we do ask if you miss a shift that you make it up. This just provides consistency in our departments, making sure that the jobs that you were doing get completed. And then sometimes we have volunteer meetings depending on the position you're in, and we ask that you attend those if that is applicable to your role. The only exception to the 8-month rule is for our emergency departments and West Valley connection drivers, and those are 1-year commitments because they are high volume positions and we really need longer consistency from those volunteers. So if you are interested in our emergency department or a connection driver position, please keep that in mind that it is a 1-year commitment. Okay, we're going to talk about the Salem campus placements. This is probably the part you've just been waiting for. These are all of the positions we have at the Salem campus. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm going to highlight a few of them, the ones that are most regularly placed in and that we typically have placement openings. So to start, we're going to talk about Access Ambassadors. They are our wayfinders on campus. They are the face that people see, the first face typically when they walk through the doors. So that exceptional experience is very important in this role. You also walk about 5 miles a day and push patients in wheelchairs. You take people, instead of directing them where they need to go, you actually take them where they need to go because it's going that extra step, providing that exceptional experience. Another one is our coffee cart. Our coffee cart volunteers, they visit waiting areas, people that are waiting for loved ones. This cart is specifically for those people because waiting in a hospital or for an appointment is very frustrating and sometimes can be hours. And providing just a little bit of comfort, a hot drink, can relieve that frustration or that anxiety. And so this is a pretty cool position that we offer, and it's only to visitors. It's not to patients or patient rooms. So if you like to talk to people and chat with them, this is a good position as well. Our college ambassadors is another one. This is not like our Access ambassadors, but for college age only or people in college. And what you guys do is you do a little bit of everything. You deliver flowers to patient rooms, you do some wayfinding. You provide a type of coffee cart. It's called our hospitality cart, and you go to patient floors and you round on patients and you provide activities for them because they're waiting and they've been in bed in that room for 4 to 6 days or however long, and they just are bored out of their mind. So providing activities, there's also snacks and coffee on that cart as well, and so that's a pretty fun role. There's also stocking on patient floors and doing some special projects. You guys do a little bit of everything, but that is for college age only because we change that schedule every single term so that it works with your schedule, and so you can still attend the classes that you need to for your school. Another one is our emergency department. We have access ambassadors in our emergency department, but we also have roles called our front and back. Very creative names, I know, but it's literally serving in the front of the emergency department or in the back. And so in the front, you're helping people get checked into the emergency department and taking them back to the back, or you're rounding in the waiting room, that kind of thing. And in the back, you are rounding on patients and checking in on them, stocking the floor, helping staff as needed. And then we also have our nursing units, which is also considered our patient and family services role, where you are stocking on patient floors as well as rounding and helping the staff. Rounding on patients, I mean. And then I'm just going to touch base on the pediatric and NICU. If you are here to hold babies, I just want you to know that we only accept baby holders after you have served a year. So find somewhere else to serve for a year and then you are eligible to hold babies. Another one to touch on is the Ronald McDonald hospitality cart, and that is specifically ran out of Ronald McDonald, so you have to be cleared through them first, and then we can bring you on as a volunteer for Salem Health. And this cart is rounding through our family birthing center, so in building D. And then another one is our spiritual care institute, or sorry, our Salem Cancer Institute. There are 3 roles in that, in our Cancer Institute, which is Access Ambassador and our Cancer Resource Center, as well as our Salem Cancer Institute workroom. And the workroom is a little bit more administrative. Our Cancer Resource Center is helping patients find resources for their recent diagnosis, and Access Ambassading is all about helping patients find their way through our campus. And then there's some volunteer clerk roles. If you are very administrative and that is just your talents, we have positions for you as well. And the last one I'll touch on is our clinics and our labs. And so there's also positions available in those specific clinics throughout our community. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out to us. And then West Valley. All of the volunteer placements at West Valley are similar to our Salem ones, but we are much more limited because it's a smaller hospital. It's a critical access hospital, so there's not as many. It's a much smaller hospital, so it doesn't require as many volunteers to make this place run. But we do have access ambassadors, so wayfinding. It's a much smaller hospital. You don't walk as far, but you are the face, the first person that people see when they walk in. So providing that exceptional experience, helping them find their way, that kind of thing. And then we have positions in our emergency department, in our imaging and lab, infusion and wound care, our rehab center, and surgery. And the last one is very different but very cool, is our connection van drivers. So this is a grant-funded program where volunteers drive a van and they go pick up a patient and they take them to their medical appointment, and then they pick them back up after their appointment and take them back home. So these are patients that are not able to drive, and we provide that service free of charge, and it is grant funded. So there's a little bit more training involved with that, but it's a very cool service. And if you enjoy driving and having good patient interaction, this is a very, very cool position for you. And you might be curious of all of your next steps. We aren't quite done with the information session yet, but we wanted to just let you know what those next steps look like. So the next step after completing this information session would be to go back to our website where you found this information session and click on step 2 for the online application. Complete that application. Once that is completed, you will be contacted to sign up for an online interview, and we'll get a date and time set up for you to attend that. Once you have that scheduled, you'll attend your online interview. That will be through Zoom. And if you get accepted to volunteer with us, these would be all of your next requirements. So the next one would be to complete some online computer-based trainings, and those computer-based trainings are about 8 hours, so it takes a while to get through those. Next one would be to adhere to confidentiality. We are a hospital, so that's very important. The next one would be to pass a background check. We don't care if you have a parking ticket, we just want to make sure there's no felonies or anything like that on there. Another requirement would be to provide 2 references that are positive references and professional, so no family or friends, please. And then to complete a tuberculosis test, we will give you all of that information. You don't need to worry about that until we give you those directions, but we need to make sure you are tuberculosis free. A couple other things to be aware of. We have volunteer vests that we have you use as your uniform while you're on campus, and those vests do cost $20 to start, and they're yours to keep and to wash and clean as needed. And then the next one would be for your badge, your volunteer badge. You would wear that every day you're on campus as well, and that is free to you. And then wearing a mask and having good hygiene. So this is a really big one. So we want to make sure all of our volunteers are wearing a mask at all times on campus. And then it is covering your mouth and your nose. So since the pandemic, this is a really big deal. We need to make sure we are all adhering to this. If you don't like wearing a mask and you have strong objections to wearing a mask, this is not the place for you. This is a requirement to be on our campus. All staff wear them. All volunteers will wear them. Also, hand hygiene. Good basic personal hygiene and hand washing is critical to prevent the spread of illness and disease. And all Salem Health employees and volunteers are expected to use proper hand hygiene to protect our patients. So anytime you are visiting a patient, you're going to foam in. There's hand sanitizers on the outside of those rooms. You're going to foam in and then wash your hands fully, front and back, all over your fingers. Go in and talk to that patient. Say, hey, how are you doing today? I'm your volunteer. Is there anything I can get for you? And maybe they say, yes, I'd love to talk with you. And so you sit in there for about 30 minutes and you chat with them and you just get to know them and see how they're doing. But then there's also some patients that maybe they're really groggy and they are very tired and they don't want to talk. So you walk in, you've just washed your hands and they say, no, leave me alone, I'm tired, just got medication. And you're like, okay, well, I'll come back and check on you a little bit later. And you literally touched nothing. And you walk back out the door, you foam out, you wash your hands front and back, and you go to the next patient's room and you do the exact same thing. So even if you don't touch anything in that room, you still have to wash your hands. So please be sure you are foaming in and foaming out at all times. This is a requirement that is expected of us by the health administration. So please be sure you are adhering to both of these rules. It's very important. Annual and monthly expectations. Every year around October, we get our flu shot. All of our staff and our volunteers get a flu shot. If you decide to not get a flu shot, you have to officially decline by coming into our office and signing a declination form. Otherwise, we do provide free flu shots for you in October. And then it's all about protecting our patients. So we want to do something called herd mentality. So we all are protecting the patient, Everybody who works here either has a flu shot or is wearing a mask. We're all required to wear masks anyway, but getting that flu shot provides that extra layer of protection. And then we also do annual computer-based trainings. That's what CBTs stand for. We have to do regular annual training to keep us up to date with whatever changes have happened in the hospital. This happens with staff and with volunteers, so it is expected of you. If you've been here with us for over a year, you would be expected to complete those every October. And then sometimes we do hospital-wide trainings. We would keep you informed of what those are. And then we also have a monthly newsletter called the Volunteer Connection. Please read that. It is valuable information. It keeps you up to date with whatever's happening in the hospital. And then perks. There's got to be some perks to volunteering, right? So we provide you a free meal of $6.50 at our Creekside Dining or any of our cafes on campus after you have served your 4-hour shift. So anytime after your shift, you are welcome to go and grab that food and take it home with you, and that is your meal on us. So that's a pretty cool perk. And then we also do free flu shots in October, which is nice. You can come to campus and get your flu shot for free. And then we also provide scholarships. It's about every February or March. So this is a really good one for our college students or high school students applying for those. We will let you know when those are available via the Volunteer Connection that is sent out monthly. And then we also do a pharmacy discount. We are not sure what that discount is, but it is eligible to you after 90 days of volunteering with us. You can kind of determine, is this more discounted versus what you are already doing, so you can kind of find out if that is worth it to you or not. We also have a fitness center and our community health education center. They have classes. You get discounted classes. You get that employee discount. So keep that in mind. You can always check that out by going to Building D, first floor, to our Community Health Education Center and finding out what that is. And then we do an annual volunteer recognition event, typically. So things may be different because of the pandemic and because of COVID. So keep that in mind. But typically we have some sort of recognition event to thank all of our wonderful volunteers for all their hard work. And then we do a holiday meal and ice cream socials as a whole hospital, and we will let you know when those are available as well. And we really want you to read that Volunteer Connection. There are more perks that are put out to our staff, and so we always insert those perks in the Volunteer Connection newsletter towards the bottom. So beyond these perks, there are more available to you. We let you know what those are in the monthly newsletter. So read that newsletter. All right, and you are going to sign some agreements that are on the application, on the online application. So I'm going to just talk through them so that you are very aware of what expectations are when you come on campus. So the dress code. We are a business casual organization, so that means that for pants, we don't wear jeans, we wear professional pants only. For shirts, we don't have any kind of graphic or cropped tees or logos on them. They're professional shirts. And then, of course, nothing too low or revealing or any midriff showing. And then shoes are closed-toed shoes. We highly encourage you to wear comfortable tennis shoes. Those are acceptable and encouraged. And then we are a fragrance-free campus, so please be sure you're not wearing any colognes or perfumes, and you are being hygienic and being clean and showered when you come to serve your shift, wearing deodorant, providing that exceptional experience by looking clean and showered. And then, of course, you're going to wear your vest and your badge. The picture on your right is a great example of what business casual looks like, and with your vest and your badge showing and available. So Everybody on campus wears their badge. If they don't have a badge, that is a little bit concerning. They should have some sort of badge to identify them. When we have visitors on campus, they have a visitor badge now to make sure we know they've gotten screened. For you, as you come through our screening, you're going to have a little tag that tells everybody that you did get screened today. So, and then you throw that tag away after you're done with your shift, and then when you come back to the hospital, you get a new tag. But generally, this is our dress code. This is how we look. We look professional and we look clean. All right, and the volunteer agreement, this is an agreement that you will sign saying that you are here on your own free will, no one is forcing you to be here, and you understand that you will not be paid or reimbursed for your services. You also understand that volunteering at the hospital does not pay back any kind of bill or medical bill. This is you agreeing that you're here as a volunteer only. And then photo consent. Photo consent is you signing that you're allowing us to take your picture for volunteering. This photo will be used for your badge. So we have to have a picture to make your badge and make sure it's you. And then it can also be, photos can be used for marketing purposes. These are typically if marketing asks us to pose as patients or like something that they're needing for marketing purposes, they will ask us. And then sometimes we do pictures of you in action, or we need a specific picture for an event, and we would ask you to pose for pictures for that. And you always have the option to decline if you decide you would not want to be, if you don't want your picture taken for those things. So that is always an option to you. All right, we are almost done. We're going to go through some frequently asked questions. I'm going to go through those pretty quick. Is there a limit to how long I can serve? There is a minimum requirement of 8 months, but there is no maximum. As long as you're a volunteer in good standing, you are welcome to stay as long as you want. What do I need to do if I stop volunteering? Please provide a 2-week notice. This is a courtesy. We want to try to get your position filled before you leave. And please return your badge once you're done with your volunteer experience. Can I volunteer more than 1 day a week? Yes, but please know that we're going to try to start you off slow and start with 1 day a week, make sure it suits you, and then we would move forward with more service opportunity. What if I need to change my schedule for a new semester? We are pretty flexible with that. Please call or email, or you can come in and talk to us. We want to try to find something that works best for you. We will work with you to find a day and time that works better for you. And then what if you're sick? Please stay home. If you are sick, you should not be coming into your position. We are a hospital with already sick people. We do not want to spread more sickness. It's very critical that you stay home if you're sick. When do I get a job here? We sort of talked about this already, but we cannot guarantee employment for you here at the hospital. It's here to expand your experience and to help your resume if that's what you're interested in, but it does not imply or guarantee employment. And then, can I use you as a reference? Yes, after you completed your commitment of 8 months, or you've clocked 150 hours, and you are in good standing and have been a committed, exceptional experience giving, wonderful volunteer. As long as that is the case, then there is no problem, and we will provide you a reference. All right, we are almost done. We're at your next steps. I know I already talked about next steps, but I'm going to go into your next steps a little bit more in detail. So the next thing you're going to do right after this is you're going to go back to the page you found this information session on and complete the online application, which is step 2 on the website. So please make sure you complete that and answer all of those questions to the best of your ability. A reminder, we do score that application, so please be sure you know the answers. We had all those green stars, if you remember. Hopefully you were taking notes as you went through, and you can have all the right answers that you need to pass that. And then once your application is completed, a staff member from our office is going to email you with some date and time options for your online interview. Please give us up to 5 days, business days, to get back to you on this. Sometimes we are out of town or we have very busy seasons, and ideally we get back to you very quickly, but if you don't hear from us within 5 business days, please give us a call and we'll make sure we move forward. So once you have that scheduled, please attend your scheduled interview and be on time. It is online and it's through Zoom. Please make sure you're on time for that. After the interview, staff will send you an email of either acceptance or denial. If you are accepted, it does take about a week to get that email, as we'll be processing all of your access and determining your replacement. It takes a little bit to get you all set up so that you have all the next steps for your volunteer service. If you get denied, you will get an email within 2 business days. So please be aware of that. And if you are accepted, that email will include all of your next steps. Read it thoroughly. That is extremely important. Okay, that's it. You completed the online information session, and thank you so much for taking the time to learn all your next steps to becoming a Salem Health Volunteer. We do hope to meet you so soon on an online interview, and thank you for choosing Salem Health to volunteer with.